have fallen to my knees.
Hi, my name is Greg Jones, and thank you for this opportunity to give my testimony.
Are you originally from Maui?
No, I've been here a little more than half my life, going on 28 years now.
So where are you from?
Orange County, California.
How did you come to know the Lord?
Okay, well, I met him through a separation and eventual divorce. Yeah. And I had all these plans for my life and stuff like that. Things were great, you know, had the house and the pool and all that, and lots of work, and my life fell apart. I couldn't control it, and I basically flipped out. I lost my mind. I had a breakdown and couldn't go on, and that's when I met the Lord. I knew that the guys that I worked with listened to Christian radio, and so I remember preaching on the radio, and I thought, well, you know I can find God through the radio. So anyway, I drove to my mom's house, parked my truck, left my keys in my truck, and went up there, threw that mattress down on the ground, tuned in the radio to some preacher, and I put the speakers on there. I laid down there, and I received the Lord that way. And so I got radically saved. I got saved August 26, 1979, about 1:30 p.m. Yeah, one of my good friends, who was a drywall contractor as I was a Christian. He and his wife used to come to our house and witness to us, and he'd sit down with me on the job and just tell me how much the Lord loved me and that he's got a plan for my life. So people were just witnessing to me all the time and preparing my heart. And if you were to ask me if I knew the Lord, I'd say, well, yeah, I know the Lord. My sister-in-law had become one of those Jesus freaks. And I thought she was really weird, because she used to, Jesus this, Jesus that, always talking about Jesus, and I thought, man, she's weird. But when I told her I was having problems in my marriage, I remember she said, Greg, if there's ever a time where you can't go on, that's, you reached the end, you can always call upon Jesus and he'll save you. And I never forgot that. And so that's what I did.
One time we were talking about, you said you got abused. What kind of abuse did you
Abused
go through?
as a kid?
Yeah, when you were a kid?
Yeah, okay. Well, my dad left before I was born. I've got an older brother and an older sister. And so the only father image that I know of or knew was my stepdad. And I guess he came into the picture when I was probably a year, maybe. And anyway, he was in my life with my mother until I was 13, and then he took off. But all through that time, as far as I can remember, I was abused. He was an alcoholic. He was physically abusive. He used to beat my mom up all the time and just beat us kids constantly, I mean, I remember one time he had us do the dishes, He was a real fanatic, and a real perfectionist. And so we did the dishes, and, he'd drink, and one night, in the middle of the night, the light goes on in my bedroom, and he comes over and he grabs me by the ear and he yanks me out of bed and he says, come here, I want to show you something, And so he took me into the kitchen, opens up the kitchen drawer and pulls out a spoon. And he shoves my face in it and he goes, what's that? And it was a spot, a spot on a spoon. So, as a result of that, I had to do every dish in the house. I was doing dishes over and over for like 3 days, no food. I couldn't eat, and that's just the way it was. And that was normal, that happened all the time. Physical abuse, mental abuse, and sexual abuse. As far as I can remember. I mean, from the beginning.
Did you ever try to ask somebody for help, like maybe your mom or somebody?
I don't remember asking anybody for help, or even really being overly concerned about my predicament, because I didn't know any different. I kind of grew up, in this environment, And so it's like I didn't know any different. It's part of, part of my life, and that's just the way it was. But when I was 11 years old, me and my sister and my neighbor across the street, my friend, and my dog were all in this big refrigerator box. What we used to do is we'd knock out the ends, put it on the ground, and get inside and push on it and play tank. Well, we were doing that, and we evidently went into a driveway, or not a driveway, but yeah, just kind of a long driveway. Anyway, a car ran over the box and ran right over my head, both tires. And why I'm here, I'm not sure. But, actually, the only thing I remember is, the pressure, something grabbing my head, and didn't know what it was, but I remember the feeling. And then getting out of the box, looking around, and I heard my stepdad go, "You so-and-so, you just killed 3 kids." But the only thing I really remember other than that was my mom saying that God wanted me alive for a reason, that he had a plan for my life.
So looking back on those days, did you ever get angry at God? Question him, why did it happen to you?
Gosh, this might sound kind of weird, but I don't question God much. After the life that I've lived, my past, and after receiving salvation, it's like life is such a gift now. Every day is a gift. I've experienced so much pain that every day is like summer school or like summer vacation or something. It's great to be alive. I remember making promises to God. God, I'll never do this, I'll never do that, after I got saved. Well, I failed him, and I disappointed him. And, he didn't beat me. I don't really question him because I know that he's so far above us. I'll have plenty of time to get the answers I need when I get to heaven. But for now, he's got a plan. Philippians 1:6, he's begun that work in me. He'll complete it until the day that I'm with him. My Heavenly Father, he's the perfect Father. Yeah. So now I really know what a father is.